What's up, everyone? It's Ruby here, bringing you guys another Baldur's Gate 3 discussion video. Today, I actually wanted to talk about the sort of rivalry or relationship between Shadowheart and Lae'zel. Why do they hate each other? Why don't they trust each other? I think it actually has to do with sort of how they were raised. Because we have to understand that the artifact that Shadowheart carries is a Githyanki artifact, right? And she was told to take it and hold on to it, right? She also knows a lot about the Githyanki, especially their culture, especially how they were raised, and there must be a reason as to why that is the case. And I think it has to do probably with Shar, and probably Shar's own distrust for the Githyanki. Or, and here's another idea, it has to do with Viconia. Because she is the Mother Superior. Because she, I think the thing is with Viconia, for those of you who don't know about Baldur's Gate, the other games, Viconia is hard to trust people in general. Like, it's hard for Viconia to trust us as the character. So I feel like that also has kind of something to do with it as well. I think also in general, these girls right here have a lot more in common than what they would like to admit, probably. And I think that also has to do with it. Because the thing is, when you have similar personalities, you tend to clash. It's a real thing. Where if someone reminds you of like a sibling or like yourself, you probably won't agree with each other because you're so similar, because you see the flaws in that person, because they remind you of you. And I do think that in many ways, Shadowheart and Lae'zel have the most in common between two characters that are supposed to be the opposite, or so to speak. Because you have two girls that have been manipulated, abused, and used by the people that taught them, that brought them up, that raised them. Shadowheart being abused and manipulated by Shar and Viconia, and then Lae'zel being manipulated and abused by Vlaakith and her Githyanki people. Right? She was taught and indoctrinated to believe that the Githyanki have the way. They know how to cure the mind flayers. But in reality, we learned that they don't. That their cure is death. And that is the only cure that is actually used by the Githyanki. And when you take these two people, you see that their problem is very similar. And very much the same. They basically have both been raised to hate each other because of the people that have influenced them. Like, Githyanki in general don't seem to trust anybody. Just in general. But especially because we hear them kind of discuss it throughout the video game. That, Githyanki have certain protocols. And it specifically has to do with those who are the enemy of the Githyanki. And to Lae'zel, technically Shadowheart is an enemy of the Githyanki because she holds the artifact. And she doesn't have a lot of trust towards them. And I definitely think as you progress through the game, depending on the direction of the story that you go in, you see how much Lae'zel and Shadowheart actually care about each other. Because in many ways they relate to each other and they understand each other's problems. Like, spoiler alert, I mean this whole video is a spoiler. Yeah. But spoiler alert, like, for example, when the truth comes out about Vlaakith and that she's not who she says she is, I feel like Shadowheart understands what that feels like because Shar is not who she says she is either. And at that point, usually, Shadowheart knows that in her heart. Even if she is a Dark Justiciar, she still knows that Shar was not completely honest with her. And you can kind of see that Lae'zel actually cares about Shadowheart's well-being. She does her own way of trying to teach and trying to change Shadowheart. Whether Shadowheart agrees with those methods is another question, but at the very least, for example, Lae'zel observes Shadowheart's combat abilities, and she assesses them. She says, like, yo, I see you improving, Shadowheart. And so Lae'zel actually, I think, does care about Shadowheart. And I think this actual scene right here, I think actually represents just them understanding each other. That is why the hatchet is buried, why they no longer specifically hate each other, because they have this interaction where they completely understand each other. They completely get each other's side. And I think that's a very important aspect of the game, is seeing how they understand each other now, how they get along now, and they don't have any future problems. Not really, anyways. And I also think that in a way, Shadowheart is right about the Githyanki being distrustworthy, because we see it. When we go to the creche, we see how dishonest the Githyanki are and how protective they are over their own society. And then you see Lae'zel, who is kind of an outlier in that fact. And then we learn about Orpheus and all that side. So we kind of see the growth. And I think the reality is they don't really hate each other specifically. I think they just see each other in the other character's eyes. Like, for example, like, I feel like Shadowheart sees a lot of herself in Lae'zel, because they're both very cautious people. They are both very guarded people, and they are both very protective over themselves. They don't want to be hurt. They don't want to be turned into mind flayers. They actually have a lot more in common than I think sometimes they realize. It's like when you have that relationship with a person where, like, you basically, like you get it, like, how do I put it? Like, I think you guys know what I'm talking about, though. I think you guys do. So I think, in reality, to summarize, the reason why they hate each other is because they're the same person. Like, if you think about it, they really are. It's like, how much they have in common with each other is a lot more than the differences between each other. And I think that is a fact. And I think it just takes a while for them to recognize that. And when they do, they get along. They like each other. That doesn't mean that Shadowheart necessarily loves the Githyanki, But she at least respects Lae'zel. And I think they just respect each other because they see how... They see why each other are the way that they are. But those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Do you think they're actually more similar than they are different? Or do you think there's another reason why they might hate each other? I mean, to be fair, I feel like the simple answer is that they were raised to hate each other by the people that lied to them, that manipulated them. But maybe you guys think something different. Let me know down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace out, guys. It's been a blast. Bye.